In this video, I will demonstrate how to create custom widget UI and custom materials to use with a new skilled interaction device. And in the future videos, I will expand functionality of it. So let's begin. In the level, I have this new device, skilled interaction, and then trigger. So when we will step on a trigger, it will activate this device. So let's look into the device. A lot of this stuff we won't use because we will use again custom widget. But just for demonstration, I will add header so we can use, and then description. So if you would create, let's say, a mini game, you maybe would want like proper description and header. So that's why we will add, and then inside of the widget UI, we'll do binding for that. Then text position doesn't matter because it's a custom UI. In here, we will add our custom widget blueprint. Screen anchor. This important. It's when we will anchor inside of the widget UI, this mini game view, then in here you need to choose. I will do it in the center. So that's why I will leave it on the center. If, for example, center won't work for you, try center full. And if, for example, maybe you will do it on the right side, then choose again. Maybe it's a center right? And if it's left, maybe it's left side. So again, choose how you will anchor in a widget UI. Then this again, like a background corners. So this is for integrated this UI, not for our custom. Interaction label. So this is when it says what button to press to stop. Interaction type. So we will have or charge and release and normal. So normal, it means this meter, right, will run normally. And charge, it means you need to hold. And then when you're releasing button, it will stop. So in this case, we will use normal. Position zone randomly, yes, we will use. This means that we have this a good zone and perfect zone. And if we're not using random in here, so every time it always will stay in that position. In my case, so it will be the circular progress, like not progress, like shape. I want it always to be random location and even slightly smaller each time. But let's say if you may be doing like, I don't know, like let's say golf game or fishing, right? So maybe you won't always stay on the same size, so not then randomly generated. So then behavior on a perfect. So as I said, we will have good zone and perfect zone. What should happen if you stopped on a perfect? So in my case, I do nothing, but maybe you want instant success, right? Or count for multiple, because we will have multiple points and for the success and for the failure. So maybe you want that, but in my case, I will set to none. So in this one, it means every time when you're progressing to next level, let's say, so it will speed up and you can increase like by how much. I don't remember in what units is it like from 0 to 1 or is it hundreds or tens? I will maybe set like 5 just to test. I'm not sure. Yeah, and this one, as you can see, so this is for shrinking our zones. So let's say again, maybe like 15. Then success target. How many we want this like to finish our mini game? So it should be, let's say 5. It's maximum. And later I will show with a less, but 5 it's maximum. So I want to show that to display 5 icons. And then show success. Yes, we can bind this inside of widget UI, or I will just show in material how enough just set this, right? So if you will set 0 targets, it won't show anyways. These icons, we can't bind them. So then, like for example, in a tracker device, you could use icon in here and then bind it into widget UI, and widget UI will automatically pick up this icon. So in this case, there is no option, so we can't use this. So on a failure as well, let's say we can have 5 failures, show failure. Because we're not using this icon, maybe this show failure is not even needed, but we can use that. Won't hurt. So this one, if you failed, what happened? Do you want to clear your successful attempt? So for example, maybe you have already 3 green, right? And now if you hit on 1 red, so then it will clear all greens. I won't use this. So for meter, we will control that in material. So we don't care about that. Movement type for the meter. So we have linear, ping pong, and wiggle. So for example, linear, it just goes in the loop. And ping pong, it, for example, goes 360 and then returns again 360, but like reversing. Movement speed, I will leave by default. I will show how you can bind this colors. So then what color you will set here in a custom widget UI will work as well. But I think like it's easier just to set up in material. Okay, so good zone size. Maybe let me make it a little bit smaller. Perfect zone size. For example, position. Not sure about this one. Haven't looked, but it maybe keep on. Yeah, it's between 0 and 100. So maybe it's like when we will have our good zone. So in that good zone position of that, yeah. So closer to the left side or closer to the right side, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, maybe let's say on 40. So same as for this meteor color. And actually this screwball color, it means your main shape. Then we have good zone color, perfect zone, interact time limit. Let's use that. So I will show how to bind that. Then show timer, yes. Timer position, again, we don't care. We will set it manually in a custom widget. Okay, rest is fine. And now begin interaction. So I will just select our trigger and on a trigger. And that's it. Now let's create empty folder. So I think let's create first material for the shape and then we will continue in a widget. Okay, straight away, user interface and masked. Nothing else needed. So let's start with a shape and let's create material function for that. Because I already like multiple times did it. So it's time maybe create material function so we can reuse in the future. So we will use round rectangle. Now we have multiple inputs in here. And just to save again inputs, I will create like vector 4. And we need function input. So this will be our vector 4 and will be shape controls. We can use default values. So will be 0.45, 0.45, 0.45, and here at, I think it was like 2. Now when we will get this, we can break it into 4. So now from here, we can say append vector. So this 2, it will be our box dimension. And as you can see, it requires vector 2. Then this will be corner radius. And this is sharpness, but in our case, it will control thickness. So let's call it. And we can. So we will use just normal UVs. And I don't think you would want it with something else, so I will just plug it there. And this will be our dimensions, this corner radius and thickness. And center by default, it's 0.5, 0.5. That's totally fine for us. Then, so with this set parameters, see, we're getting circle. But we want in the center empty, so like dark. What we can do is to use sign node and set it to 2. And it will be like that. You can have it as a 1 as well. It will be just thinner. See? We still will control with this. Actually, yeah, maybe we can leave as it is by default. Same as here, you can expand here and change this value. But yeah, we're already getting our shape. Now what I want is 2 outputs. One is for the shape and one for the outline. And let's use first smooth step in here. So this will be our output for the shape. And just in case if we go crazy with these numbers, so I will just put saturation. So it will keep between 0 and 1. Because we will use this as a black and white mask. Then in here, let's create, let's have this duplicated. And this will be not a shape controls, but it will be, let's say, contrast and outline controls. So default values for the contrast, maybe let's leave 0.45, 0.45. Then this will be our outline minimum and then maximum. So on the minimum will be 0 and maximum, let's try 0.5. And then we will see. In the material instance, we will still update that if we need. So this will be our contrast minimum, contrast maximum, outline minimum, and outline maximum. And why I call them minimum maximum is because smooth step has these 2 inputs, minimum maximum. So then I know what I'm talking about. And this one will be on a 0 priority, and this will be on a 1. So it will be second. And now I will basically duplicate all this and connect after sign. And before connecting in there, I will invert it. And then this will be outline minimum and outline maximum. So this will be our shape mask and priority 0. Then this one, it's our outline mask and priority 1. So if we will preview in here, so in the middle, basically because everything outside is white, that's totally fine, but it means mask will work fine. So mask for this outline is not in the center but on the corners. It's good. Now we can use this material function. Now every time when we will need, we can reuse this easily. So let's create our controls to input here. So this will be our circular shape and controls. and this, something like that. And I am adding this circular shape because later I'm planning to add more um, different shapes. So then it will be separate. Okay, if you watched my previous videos about materials, I was showing there. So like even as in here, it says param and 4 values. So it looks like a 4 vector. And then in here we have 4. So this one, it should be like a vector 4. But actually, if I will use it, it will be missing 1. I don't know why. So then we need to make float 4. So float is same as vector. And then we'll do it like that. And now we're connecting this one here and this one there. So we have our shape controls. And again, we need name these inputs. So then in material instance we see, and we need default values. So this will be our size X, size Y. And as I named it circular shape, from this I will show you, but with this, why I used round rectangle, because from that we can create rectangle and we can create circle. So it's really nice just with simple setup to have both. Then corner, radius, and thickness. So again, 0.45, 0.45, and 0.45, and 2 for now. Now next one will be our contrast minimum, contrast maximum, line minimum, and outline maximum. So for now, let's leave it again, 0.45, 0.45. It was 0 and 0.5. Okay, now this will be our main shape mask. And then outline mask. Okay. Now what we can do, let's create good zone and let's create good zone mask and perfect zone mask. Okay, so we will use our main shape. Then we need I will explain just in a second. Now this will be parameter to control. So good zone minimum, good zone maximum. Okay. Let's now do subtract. And so this one minimum straight away can go in here. But then we need subtract minimum from maximum. Well, before we can use it in this addition. And good zone mask. Let's now create widgets so I can explain. So widget, user widget. Let's open it. I won't be adding now anything. We will go back to material, but in here I will explain a little bit. So we need to add view model, then scaled interaction, select, close that. So now in the binding, look, if we will jump in scaled interaction, so we see all these parameters we can use in our material. And that's why I'm using good zone maximum and good zone minimum, because basically how it works, it gives us range between one value and another. So rest outside of that, it means it will be fail. If you will stop your meter outside, it will be fail. But then to create this zone, we need pass minimum and maximum. So then between that, it will be our good zone. Same with our perfect zone. Yeah. So that's what we're doing now. So we're using minimum and we're using maximum. Okay, just so we can see, just in a second, we'll start connecting that. So then let's add some values. So for example, this. And we can duplicate all that for our perfect zone. It's still main shape. Just in here, we need to rename. Make sure you rename it. And here as well. Perfect zone mask. And that's good. And then instead of that, we will create new one. Okay, so now we can connect this. And when we will see all that, we then will add our meter at the end. So we want how many? We want, this will be our good zone, perfect zone, our main color for the rest. And this will be our outline color. Many. Okay, so this is good zone color, perfect zone color, main color, and outline color. Don't forget, because we want to control that for the bindings, so you, don't make any spaces, or you can just add like that underscore, right? In between. I just don't use space. Okay, let's maybe add something super visible. So like pink for perfect, maybe green for good. May shape maybe. Now lerp. So let's do this first. So to get our mask, we need our main shape, and then we need perfect shape, and we need multiply them, and let's saturate and use in here. So basically we're getting this, we can even preview. So let's preview. Oh yeah, perfect. It's on a 0. No, it's not 0. Let's see. Let's set it bigger, or yeah, maybe smaller, because it should be smaller than good zone. So let's be 0.5 maybe, and 0.3, something like that. Okay, in a second we will see. Should work. Actually, yeah, it's not main shape. It will be our, this gradient mask, what we need. Okay. Yeah, just in a second I will add that. I forgot that gradient mask. But we still need this like that. Then let's add multiply. So this will be for our intensity. So we can control, we want to brighten our colors. And we have another lerp. So this will go into B and main color into A. And for this mask, we want similar setup. Just instead perfect zone, we want a good zone. Okay, now again lerp. And what I want to do is, instead of fully separate outline with a main color, I won't blend them nicely. So you will see that we can create even some shadow and bevel effect instead of just sharp separation. That can be sometimes useful and look nice. So I will blend them like that. So with multiplication, and then this will go into B and this will go into A. And for the mask, we already have that mask. So here at the end, we will add our meter, which will be running, which you need to stop. But let's start previewing this. So this will go into color. And for the opacity, we need, yeah, for now it's just main shape, but again, we will need that meter mask. So main shape mask. Okay. But for these guys, I need to delete that. And let's create our, that gradient, circular gradient. So I've done that already multiple times. And I think that can be, again, function, which we can then later reuse multiple times. Say polar, maybe coordinates. So we need texture coordinates, then subtract them from 0.5, then break float 2. Then we need arctangent too fast. This here, then divide that by 6.283, and then fraction. And that's it. Basically how it looks. So this will be our circular or polar. Let's say polar gradient mask. Create a root node. And connect it in here. And straight away you can see our good this zone, which is green. Need to check outside. I think it's maybe a really small number, that's why it's not visible. But we'll see. Oh, let's put it back, maybe something small. Okay, so now back in here, there's our canvas, then overlay. So overlay, I will anchor to the center, is 0, 0, 0 0.5, 0 0.5. So it's in the center. I will set size to something like 480 by 600. Would be fine. And this error is because I have already bindings here, but I haven't added anything. So let's remove that. Okay. So we have our overlay. I'm not setting size to content, right? So it's empty. And let's add our image, which will be our background. So fill and fill. Then change something like black maybe and semi-transparent. And instead of image, I will use a round box. And yeah, round box. And then in here, fixed radius. And something like maybe 15 or something. So basically it's, see, like it's rounds edges. I think 15 is fine. It's based on the size. So if your box will be smaller, maybe you need a smaller number in here. And if you would need or want add outline, so you can do it here as well. For example, increase alpha, because by default it's 0, so it means it won't be visible. Then set your color, and then in here you can control like that your size, right? I won't use this, but feel free to do if you need. I will set it back to alpha on 0. Okay, so we have this background. For this title, I want to add another background, but it basically like I will duplicate same, and let's call it header background. And instead of vertically fill it fully, I will set it to like that. So in the center, or yeah, maybe on top. Yeah, on top. So basically, you see my everything in here, it's the same as that first background. So my round these edges, the same size. So they nicely overlap. But then on the bottom, I don't want that. So let's see which one is where. Yeah, this one is this. So let's set to 0. Yeah, and this is this one, like left and right on the bottom. Like this. And now we can set little bit size. Maybe like that. Something simple. Okay. Now let's add area where we have our this meter, or this main shape. And I will set it center, center. And then from here, we'll see like maybe I will shift it up or down. But what I need in here now, so like let's create material instance. Like this. And for the size, let's take maybe 300, 300, like that. And you can already see this outline. Look, it creates really nice gradient, and it creates illusion of the thickness of this shape, right? Instead of like fully flat. Okay, for the padding, yeah, maybe it's too high. So basically, I want header here and description here. So let's move it down a bit. Yeah, like that. Now, let's add text. So this will be our header. Yeah, we'll keep it on the top. And I will just offset it a bit. Like that. It's too much. Yep, should be fine. And in here, I will set to center as well, alignment. So what this means is bigger your basically word will be, it will expand in both directions. Instead of, for example, it will stay, let's say, on the left side and go into right. So then you will lose symmetry. So in the center, it will always will be centered. Okay. And let's call it text header. So then when we will do binding, we will basically know what's what. So this will be our description. And last one will be our timer. Okay. So let's move description down. So description I will set to center, and then I will offset from the bottom. Or maybe from top then. Pretty much same. There we go. And let's make it smaller. Because a description, not a header. And now our text can be wrapped. What this means is basically you see this out of wrap text. When it reaches size, like length of the line, it will automatically go to another line. So for example, you don't know, like because we will control that from that device, you don't know how long the description could be. So for example, if you would set it this, I don't know, oh yeah, you see like it changes. So I don't know how big number it should be. can just play with this number and see what works for you. So 0, it means it's like disabled. But then you see like when I'm increasing this, but it's interesting that's not goes fully. Maybe I need to compile. Yeah, here we go. So sometimes when you're compiling, it refreshes. So I don't think I need so much. Actually, I know my overlay size. So it's 480. So I'm just guessing that this size, it's the same size. So basically, it's not like a between 1 and 100 or like 0 and 100. It's probably just normal size of UI. So let's put it same, maybe 450. So have a little bit margin. Okay. And now will be our timer. And I will set it center, center. I want it in the center of this shape. Make it bigger. Okay, that will do. So let's adjust parameters on this so we can see it better. Okay, so we have all that. To not waste time, I didn't categorize, but like grouped. But I showed that many times and I highly recommend to do this. So our controls in here as well. Okay, so maybe grab it there so we can see. So again, this good zone and perfect zone, minimum, maximum, we don't care much about that. This is for preview because again, we will do binding and device will control them. But this stuff, like these controls and outlines, this is what we can do in material. So if I'm lowering this thickness, actually make it thicker, and when I'm increasing, it gets thinner. And then if in here, I would change the sign to 2, that would make it much thicker. You can actually use 2. Totally fine. Okay. So now look, if, because as I said, we're using that round rectangle. So with this corner radius, look, if I will lower, we're getting this outline, like not outline, but like shape. Really cool, right? And then of course, we can adjust shape like this. But we won't do this right now, so I will just use as a circle. Fine. And then we have our outlines and contrast. So as you can see, this is how it works. Minimum, maximum. At default values works fine. And then we have our outline. You see, like if I will increase minimum and bring it closer to the maximum, but they still like around 0.3, 0.4. So you see, now we have like nice sharp outline. So if you want that, so here we go. This is how you do it. And of course you can change color of that outline like that. Or for example, set it to white. It's actually, yeah, if you want perfectly set it to white, then inside of our material, don't do this multiplication, just directly connect it like that. But I multiplied because I wanted to make this nice blending instead of like just purely outline. So you see, like now I'm making it darker. And now with this, set it again to 0, like that. So I'm getting some black outline, at the same time, it's just nice gradient like shadow. Cool. Okay, what left is only our perfect zone. Here we go. This is how it basically will look. So what we will control. And with zone color intensity, and we can control this intensity. Of course, don't go too crazy. And it's like that. So now let's add our meter. So for our meter, I will use box mask. By the way, we can set it to meter mask. Now in here, we will use normal texture coordinates. Then we want custom rotate node, because like what we're creating, we will create this small piece, right? But then that piece should rotate like this around. So will be with that. So let's create our parameter. So this will be the meter value. And we need multiply it by -1. So how basically it's counted in a device, it's like it goes in opposite direction than in here. So that's why I'm just multiplying by 1. Then this goes into A. And then we need a bunch of parameters in here. So let's start with this one, smallest one. So this will be our meter softness. Softness. I will set it to really tiny number. You can even set maybe like to 0. Okay, now I want to append, because basically again, look, v2, v2, right? So it should be vector 2. Then in this one, it will be our offset first. And second one, it's bounce, it's basically our size. Okay, so I think, yeah, x, it should be 0.5. So it's in the center, right? Because don't forget that UV coordinate starts on the left corner, right? So we want in the center, so 0.5. But then y, so it's here, and we need offset now up in this. So this will be 0.144. But then I will see in material instance if I need to adjust that. But it's highly depending on the size, yeah, of your circle and thickness of the circle. So then you can adjust for your own needs. I'm just like showing how you can do in here. But that's why we're creating them as a parameters and not static constant value. Okay, for the size, let's use like something small. So it will be for the X, because it should be really thin. It will be, oh, that's too small, 0.01. And for the Y, because it will be longer, 0.136. Okay, so we've done with this our meter. Now we need color. This will be our meter color. By default, I will set it to white. Then we need another lerp. So this goes into A. This color goes into B. And this, of course, will be our meter mask. And into color. Then in here, we need max node. So one will be our main shape, and another will be our, again, meter mask. and into opacity. And here we go. We have our piece. So see how it looks. Now let's open that. There you go. Meter value. And you can see how it will work. So it goes between 0 and 1, like that. And as you can see, maybe it's a little bit too long for this shape. So that's why we have our sizes. So this is in a Y. We can lower a little bit. Maybe like that. Maybe 0.11. Yep. And because it's now smaller size, you see on the top, it's not touching. So let's offset it in Y again. Yeah, maybe like that. And we've done with this. So now, again, remember your names or copy directly from material. In the binding, if name is wrong, it won't work. So yeah, let's start maybe with a text, because into material will go many of them. So starting with a text in here, header. Here is our header. Because we're not doing any conversion, text to text, so then we don't need anything else in here. Now for this one, it's our description. Again, text. And then here, our description. And as you can see, like it's again, like there are many parameters. I won't use all of them, of course, but you can experiment with more of them. Now, timer, text. Oh, it's actually a timer. It's a value. So we need conversion in here. So we need integer or double. So integer, it means it will be a round number. So will look nicer in here. So let's use integer. And for the value, now we need, where is our timer? Yeah, interact timer. That's it. We don't need anything else in here. Cool. Now let's go to material. So let's collapse maybe all that. And make shape, brush. It's always brush when you controlling material. Now we need always conversion as well, because material is already assigned, so we don't need this one. So we need first one. It's a scalar parameter. So for the first one, let's right away control meter value. So meter value, and for the value, we need select print meter value. Again, to the same. Again, brush, conversion. Yeah, let's do scalar. First, let's do all scalars and then colors. Okay, so this will be our good zone minimum. And for the value, it will be our good zone minimum. So carefully pay attention what you will assign. Again, brush. Put on maximum. Again, brush. Cannot even straight away too. So this will be our, again, scalar. This will be our scalar, scalar conversion. So the value will be perfect zone minimum. And let's select perfect zone minimum. And this is perfect zone maximum. Perfect zone maximum. Okay, so this will control our values. And I will just show one for demonstration, but again, I don't want to change my colors. But if you would want, so then you again setting brush, then function, but instead scalar. Scalar it means it's one value. We need vector, so it's a free, and color it's a free, yeah, it's RGB. So then you need vector parameter. Then in here you need name for your color. So you see good zone color, perfect zone color, yeah. So let's say this is good zone color, like that. And in here we need to choose good zone color, like that. And in the same way, yeah, you could again through the vector conversion, you can apply colors to the rest of that. But again, I don't want to do this. Okay, this is that, and what left is my icons as well. It's a simple material, but we still need to do it. But let's grab our widget and input it here. Yeah, so it's here, custom widget. Okay, and for this one, I will add success icons and failure on the left and on the right. So for that, we will create new material. And straight away, I will create instances. So this will be my success icons. And I can just duplicate this one and name it failure. Let's open main material. So again, user interface, this masked. So we need texture for that. And straight away, let's convert to parameter. So this will be icon. And in here, so by default, usually textures, they could be tiled. So it means they repeat itself. And in the texture parameters, they set to wrap by default. Then in here, we can choose differently. And if you're choosing this texture asset, so it means it will use from the texture parameters, but then you can overwrite it here. So set it to wrap or clamp. And I want clamp because I want to control repetition myself into what direction it should repeat and in what not. Okay, so is that. And then now we will create few masks. One mask, it will be not mask, two masks and one controls for the UVs. So for the UVs, it's basically repetition. And two mask, it will be what icon to show, like how many, because maybe you will set 3 icons should be displayed or 5 icons, right? And another one, it will be for the success or failure color change. So let's start with our this repetition. So for the UVs, so texture coordinates, then I will use scale by center just to adjust them because we will change color. No, not color, we will change this tiling. Then I want break it. So break float 2, and I want to do it twice. And why I want to do it twice? Because I want to create material which can be used vertically and horizontally. So in this case, I will use vertically, but then if I will change mine, I can always change to horizontal. So we need fracture. So fracture can help us to decide how many times you want to repeat something. Okay. And then append vector and like that. So you see, I'm breaking this, like I'm separating them just so in this one, I'm setting it so that horizontally it's using fraction, but vertically not. But then on the bottom one, I actually need to change. So then this red one goes into A and green into fraction and then into B, like that. And let's use static switch parameter. I will just call it like vertical and horizontal. Okay, so this one, that, and this is false. And I will leave false by default. Okay. And now for the scaling, I will reuse same, because scaling will change based on the vertical or horizontal we're using. Copy this append 2 times. I will use constant here, but if something won't work for you or you will need to adjust, convert them into parameters, so then you can control them in material instance. But for my needs, I know my numbers, and I think they should more or less work most of the time. So this is 0.7 and 0.2. So you see, in both these ways, it's the same numbers. It's just only they changing the direction. So here 0.2 goes into A and 0.7 into B, and that is opposite. 0.7 goes into A, 0.2 into B. Only difference. Okay, so let's maybe call it UV's control. And there are already icons in a Fortnite. Don't know names. Oh, there. Check. So you see 64 and 128. This is basically a resolution. So I will use bigger one. And from that, I don't want color. I can set color, but I want just mask. So for now, I will leave it like this. And then this goes into opacity. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then here we need lerp and we need 2 colors. So one is our default color, which will be something like a gray. And this will be active, if icon color. And by default, maybe green. But in, for example, failure, it will be red. But we can control that in material instance. Create masks. So again, let's grab this texture coordinates and a break float. Before that, I will invert it. Then step. Be our target value. And I want to divide it by 5. Basically dividing by maximum number. So this will be like, if you will set target is 3, and it will display only 3. But if you will say 5, it still will be 5, because basically it's maximum number. We know that it could be 5 only. And we will use again same static switch. Let's say by default 5. So this is our icons visibility mask. And we need pretty much, yeah, like everything for our color mask. Just instead target, we will use progress, let's say. And as well, 5 maximum. And same in here. And this will go in our color. And this will be our progress mask. Oh, in here, when we're breaking, not breaking, when we're getting from scale UVs by center, actually I've got from here, this is not correct. So use from UVs, right? So both should go from the same. And here we go. We can preview that. And for example, in here, we can set 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. And if, for example, I will set more, you see more, it's not appearing. because it's clamped on 5. And this is our progress. So if it's 0, you see nothing, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. So this is working. Let's go back in here. So quickly, let's get our shape. Let's duplicate it. Let's rename it. Maybe image success icons, something like that. Now, so it's anchored center, but probably I will anchor on the left, right? So in here, offset from the top, I will leave. Then maybe on the left, I will add little offset, like a 10. So I need to change shape and of course material. So for the shape, let's set it 80 and 250 like this. And now let's grab our success icon. And here we go. We have them. Let's by default in material set, or actually I want to see if a red will appear, but then by default we will set to 0 progress. So we have this. Now let's duplicate and call it failure icons. And now let's align that on the right side, and instead left 10 pixels, we'll set right 10 pixels. And of course we need to change material. So failure icons like this. Let's open failure. And in here we have this icon, and let's check for X, something, I don't know how it's called. Let's use this one. And for active color, let's use red. We have that, right? Cool. Now in material, let's set progress default 0. Now icons will look like this. And final binding. So for the success icons, again, brush, conversion, so scalar. This will be our progress. And success count. And into same one, we want brush, again, conversion, scalar, and this will be our target. So with this one, we will control how many you want these icons to show up. So it will be success target. And same for the failure. So in here, failure count. And this one will be target again. And failure total allowed. Okay, I think I didn't miss anything. So let's try. Come here, save. So this is done. Yeah, so I will launch session and see you in a game. Okay, let's test it. Yeah, so it's perfectly working. And as you can see, rest of the colors, they stay the same. It's just only good zone. It's now in a blue instead of green because we set binding for that. But you can like leave bindings away from the colors and change colors mainly in the material instance. Yeah, and you can do colors directly in material instance instead of that. And in the future videos, I want to add different shapes for this for the game, and then even change them based on the round, how many you succeeded, and maybe even like change colors based of that. So basically add more variety, let's say, for this. So hopefully this is really good start for you, and you will learn how to do it, and you will use for something really, really cool. Because yeah, this is exciting. With this device, we can have like really cool mechanics, and yep, have fun with that. I would like to say thank you to my all supporters. I appreciate your support. Thank you for your generosity. You can join our growing Discord community, where we like to discuss UEFN tips and tricks, showcase our work, and help each other. You can find link in the description or in the channel header. You can get project files on my Patreon or just buy me a coffee to support me. If you're interested in learning more about UEFN materials, coding, widget UI, and more, feel free to subscribe and click that bell icon to get notifications when new videos will be released. See you soon.